Hello everyone, let's begin the Hindu analysis for 11/9/2018. The first news item, the Supreme Court posed to judge on the Babri Masjid case trial deadline. So this is with respect to the Supreme Court. On April 19, 2017, it revived the criminal conspiracy charge, which is again the top BJP leaders, and also they transferred their cases which has been languishing in the magistrate court at Raebareli to the additional sessions court in Lucknow. So here the Supreme Court asked the additional judge S.K. Yadav, who is hearing the Babri Masjid demolition cases against the BJP and also the Sangh Parivar leaders, for prominent leaders are L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharati, and also the lakhs of unknown car savings also being charged under it. So here they have to explain to how is that they're going to complete the trial by April 2019. So this was a kind of a deadline which was being stipulated by the Supreme Court. So this particular case, Raebareli case, is with respect to the BJP and also the Sangh Parivar leaders, who are actually been accused of having given the speeches to promote the enmity and also threatening the national integration. So this case is almost pending 26 years. So who had actually the car savings who have been destroyed the Babri Masjid on December 6, 1992. And both the cases of giving the speeches and also demolishing and destroying the Babri Masjid case has been pending the past 26 years, and the deadline is that they have given by 2019 they have to finish the case at any cost. So this is about it. And the next one, PDP too will boycott the Jammu and Kashmir local polls. So here we have the Democratic Party, where the president has asked a party, in sense the president of this PDP said the party too would stay away from the upcoming local urban bodies and also the panchayat elections, because even as the Jammu and Kashmir said the poll process will go as per the schedules. So Jammu and Kashmir said the poll process will go as per the schedules, but the PDP would be saying that it would stay away from all the upcoming urban locals and also the panchayat elections. So this has been linking the panchayat polls with the article 35A. So there is a case before the Supreme Court which has been hearing right now, so which has created an apprehension among the people. So here they want to give urge to the government to review its decision to hold polls at its juncture. So this is one of the main reason, and looking at the situation, the PDP has decided to stay away from the polls and also describe the special status position a matter of survival of its people and also for the society. So this is one of the statement to what has been coming from the PDP. The next one, dairy farmers helpless as deadly disease takes a toll on cattle. So this is with respect to a very rare deadly disease which has been resurfaced on the soil in Tumkur district. We call it as MCF, the Malikan Catarrh fever, which is an infectious viral disease which is originally from South Africa. So this affects the cattle. This was first been spotted in the state, it's almost like 10 years ago. So this particular disease neither has a cure nor a vaccination, but it can spread very faster. So this is actually the herpes virus that spreads from the sheep to the cattle. So that's how the cattle gets this disease, and this is being screening all the sheep and also goats in the villages of the disease, and also when identify they try to isolate those particular goats and ensure that the spread of the diseases can be controlled on. So though it is the one which affects the cattle, but the spread is definitely with respect from the sheep. That's a herpes virus. So this is about it. And the next one, death for 2 in Hyderabad blast case. So the year 11 years after the twin bombings which had happened, which rocked the Hyderabad. So 2 convicts have been given to death. That is another one person, Mr. Tariq Anjum, who has been sentenced to life prison by the 2nd Additional Metropolitan Sessions Court judge. So 2 of them have been given for the conviction to death, and 1 person has been a life imprisonment person. So on August 25, 2007, this was the incident which happened. 2 improvised explosive devices were ripped through the at Lumbini Park and also the Gokul Chaat Bandar. So this is about the area where the blast had happened. So what you have to know is just the convictions to death has been given to these 2 Hyderabad blast case. So this is about it. And the Delhi launches a doorstep delivery of government services. So here we have the Delhi which has come up with a new initiation where it's been planned for months, and it is a very ambitious project to the home delivery services. So here we have an applicants with 40 different licenses and also the certificates. So this coverage from the driving license to marriage certificates, applications of 40 government documents were offered to Delhites at their homes, and also fee of rupees 50 per service starting from Monday. So here the applicant, they have to call 1076 and they have to fix an appointment with a mobile sahayak, and this particular person will come home and also try to help them fill in the forms. He'll receive the payment and also collections of the documents, and the mobile sahayak would then submit the documents at the government office to which is being concerned. So here the post certificate or license, once issued, they would be posting it off. And here they also tell that Kejriwal, he made a statement that there are teething troubles for the next few days because it's new setup, the things has to be set on, and the number of operators has also been increased from 40 to 80, and the number of the phone lines from 50 to 120 has been increased, as the more calls is what they have been expecting. And this has been terming as an historic day, where Mr. Kejriwal said that the move would end the long waiting times at the government offices, the scope for the touts to operate, and also to increase the productivity. So if you move on to any government offices, the things will not happen faster. So this is on limelight of it. So here you have the details with respect to what time to what time, that's from 8 am to 10 pm, and they have to call 1076. This is a dialing number to what they have to call, and these are the things to what they would be getting, and the fee payment is around 50 rupees. So this is about it. The next one, Tejas clears the Maidan mid-air refueling trial. So this is the first ever mid-air fueling of the indigenous developed light air, that is compact aircraft Tejas, was successfully carried out, and this has been placing India in an allied group of countries which have developed a air-to-air refueling system for the military aircraft. So the main important aspect is that this is to air-to-air refueling system, what is the Tejas would be having. And the first trial, the aircraft gets the much closer to the important battle ready tag called the FOC, that's the final operation clearance. So it has got this tag right now, and the production partner Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and the LCS, that's a life compact aircraft designer and a developer aeronautical development agency, gave the thumbs up as an Air Force transport plane IL-78 refueled the lighter fighter as it flew at a height of 20,000 feet over the Gwalior. That is on the this was one of the statements which has been coming from the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And the Tejas LSP P8, which has successfully completed the wet, or also we call it as an actual engagement, by transferring 1900 kg of fuel from IAF IL-78, that's a mid-air refueling tanker. So all the internal tanks and the drop tanks were refueled. The aircraft was almost flying like 270 knots. So this is the speed of it. So this is about it. Basically Tejas is a air-to-air refueling system for the military aircraft. The next one, there is the same continuation to what we saw, that is the PDP. So here this is why they have to come with decisions of protest and staying away from the polls is because of the 5 days after the national conference, where the president announced the party that they will not participate in the elections unless and until the government clears its position on the Article 35A. So this, we know that from long term it's there in the courts and it has to get into considerations. So here the State Administrative Council, which is being headed by the new governor Satyapal Malik, so August 31st, he decided that the elections to the municipal bodies will be conducted in 4 phases between October 1st and 5th, and it is also scheduled for the 8-phase panchayat elections between November 8 to December 4. So this is one of the statements to what has been coming from the State Administrative Council. The next one, casting cappers, Maneka sees animals in wrong role. So this is with respect to the Women and Child Development Minister Maneka Gandhi has locked the horns with the Animal Welfare Board of India. So she has been accusing of the lax in the enforcement of the rules that has actually specified how the wild animals can be depicted in the films and also the television programs. So this board is India's apex body for ensuring the animals are not being mistreated. So that's the main concept of it. So here it have even been allowed the depiction in scenes that could promote cruelty to animals as well. So this was one of it. And the letter to what is she has written cites that an instance of approval given for a scene showing animal sacrifice which is against the Supreme Court order. So earlier the Supreme Court also had made an order pertaining to it, and this particular letter cites that this shows to how the animal sacrifice is being done still after the Supreme Court's order. So we have the SP Gupta, AWBI chairman, said the allegations were baseless and the part of the campaign also to defame the board. So he is stating that it was completely baseless. So the letter to what they founded, the Hindu cites that the instance of the AIBI, that's AWBI, allowing the feature of the hooklock gibbon, so which is an endangered species, in a documentary film without enquiring from the filmmakers whether or not it's been given the permissions or it has been obtained from the permissions. So this is one of the letter to what indicates a clarification. So in July there was a TV show called as India's Next Top Model. So this, they had given approval for using animals and also birds which is brought outside the country, such as macaws and also ball pythons, without verifying how they were sourced and whether requisite certificate was obtained for their import. So this was on a TV channel which brought it more clearly, and since the show as they held on, so this was the animals to what they used on, so they were not clear to whether they've been verified or there was a requisite certificate which has been given. So apart from that, we have the tigers, monkeys, lions, bears, panthers, that is the leopards, including leopards, are banned from being exhibited under the section 22 of the Prevention of the Cruelty Act. So as per the act section 22, these are the animals which should not be supposed to get onto the streamline, but at the same time they are being completely exhibited. So the government body has allowed their use on several occasions. So there is another statement to what has been coming from Ms. Gandhi, and the subcommittee has also granted the request for showing the snakes and also birds without the applicant specifying the species. On total, the animals are not being safeguarded or certifications or the kind of an requisite part, or are they being really sourced as per the verification which has not been done yet. So all India snakes and birds except the crow are protected under the Wildlife Protection Act, and any certification for the performance or exhibition is only possible after the permission from the chief wildlife warden of the relevant state. So unless and until he gives the permission, they are not supposed to get any of the snakes or the birds under the performance or the exhibition which is under the protection of the Wildlife Protection Act. So this is about it. The next one, RBI intervenes as rupee breaches $72.5. So we know that the rupee is getting breached over and over. So here on Monday it has slipped as most as 72.5. So it has touched all-time low 72.67. That is intraday, as a current account deficit has widened 5-year high in the first quarter of the current financial year. That is with $15.8 billion or 2.4 of the GDPs. So now it is also slating towards 73.50 levels as well. So according to the dealers, the investors are concerned over the economies, and they are also expecting the experience to be more worsening of the balance of payments position, that is the BOP positions, and the external stability front. So here the current account deficit, they are expecting to widen 2.5% of the GDP in the financial year 2019 and 2.7% in the financial year 2020. So which means that the CAD is still getting widened off, and this is reflecting the adverse terms of trade and also picking up with the capex. So we also know that 25 basis rate has been hiked in October. So here the RBI of India, that's a Reserve Bank of India, will front load its hiking cycle to keep the inflation expectations anchored. So this is the risk of another hike of 25 basis point in the remaining part of the fiscal year, contingent on evolving the external conditions. So this is expecting to what the RBI's move would be pertaining to the inflations to what has been expected. And here the Moody's Investors Service, they have warned that sustained weakening of the rupee would be credit negative for its rated Indian companies, which would not be a positive but rather a very negative aspects when it comes to the Indian rated companies. So this is with respect to the situation of rupee in India right now, and it's also worst performing currency in Asia. So here we have the ArcelorMittal raises the bid for SR Steel. So you have to just look on to the history of this particular bidding, because there were several companies which has actually bidded. So you have like few part where this case date backs to 2017, where the NCTL has actually admits the insolvency plea against the SR Steel. So this was which been filed by the SBI. And here on October 28, what happened, there were 7 bidders who had actually submitted. So we have one is the ArcelorMittal, then we have the New Metal, Tata Steel, Vedanta Group and Nippon. There were many such companies which had bidded, and after that we had the IBC, which is amending the bar promoters of defaulting the firms from participating. So they are barred them, but in the 2018 what happened was the final bids were only for this ArcelorMittal and also New Metal, but the New Metal they were making a preemptives of COC, and the challenging part was being rejected by the NCTL, that's a National Company Law Tribunal, and they also declared that both New Metal, there's another company, and the RC Metal, So we have your new metal and the RC metal, they were completely been barred and they were not been eligible to take part in the bidding process. But in the second round, what happened was the ArcelorMittal and the new metal, they came up into the fray and they also declared invalid again by the NCTL. The courts, the first round of the bids, and after that they started allowing to get them into their eligibility, and over the time the new metal ArcelorMittal, they also challenged the disqualifications in the first round at the NCTLT. So after ArcelorMittal, they also made it clear that the deposit they are ready to make around like 7,000 crores in the SBI. So this is to make up with the repayment of the dues to the KSS Petron and the Uttam Galva Steels. So this is what I am talking about. So here the ArcelorMittal, so as per the second bidding, they came up with 42,000 because earlierly they had a very lesser amount and they didn't allow them to get bidding and it was being uneligible. So they were not eligible, and after that like 7,000 rupees crores they have to deposit in SBI. This is for the dues of the Uttam Galva and also the KSS Petron. So after that they also ordered the QS of the SR bid steels. So now the new metal is also eligible to get into the ArcelorMittal eligible, and the second round allows the ArcelorMittal to come into the picture once they have been done on with it. So this is a past story to what had happened, but right now the continuation of it is that the ArcelorMittal is understood and it had also revised its offer for the bankrupt of SR Steel. So SR Steel is the one which has been bankrupted right now to 42,000 as against the VTB group back the metals offer of 37 crores, and also the Vedanta had offered 34,000 crores, but the ArcelorMittal had actually offered lesser to what the other two companies had offered. So right now it is also revised and it has brought it to 42,000. So here the ArcelorMittal also confirms that it has submitted a revised proposal to the Essar Steel India's Limited, that is Committee of Creditors, that is COC, for the acquisition of Essar Steel. So through this revised offer, there also demonstrates a serious commitment to India, the credit banks and also the Essar Steel stakeholders. So here the National Company Appellate Law Tribunal had ordered to pay them 7,000 rupees crores to the lenders of the Uttam Galv and KSS Petron by September 11th. So to make it more eligible for the bid for the SR Steels. So apart from that, the Mittal also mentions in the letter that the company would have the right to move the Supreme Court despite the revised offer being made. So New Mittal has revised again 37,000 crore only after the ArcelorMittal pays 7,000 crore to the lender. So once he pays, only then this revision would be happening and the deadline would be on September 11th. So the company is also looking out that it also ruled as eligible as a second bid of New Metal for the debt-ridden SR Steel. So there is like basically an bidding had happened and the ArcelorMittal and New Metal were rejected, but over the time they are again coming back to the limelight by giving the deposit to the SBIs and also the other sectors. So this is about it. And the question for the day is, you have to brief on Babri Masjid case because it's a very long pending case. Newcomers would not be sure about it, so just Google on it and give me on 50 words about it. And what is rupee depreciations? So these were the important news items for 11/9/2018. Thank you.